Maybe. That's not it. Can you hear us, Rodney?
Yep.
Okay.
We can hear you.
Perfect. Let me know when you're ready, Michael.
Yeah, shoot. Go.
Shoot, we're ready to go?
I think so.
Okay. We'll start the meeting. It's Monday, June 12th of 2023. This is the Plan Commission meeting. And do we have a quorum?
Yes, we do.
We do, and we are certified and in compliance with open meeting laws. And so the first item for approval is the Plan Commission minutes from May 8th. I would entertain a motion to approve those minutes.
I will move to approve those minutes.
Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Majewski. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. And any opposed? That motion carries. Next item is City Council Representative Report. Alderperson Caravello.
Yes, thank you, Mayor. And it looks like the only Land Commission action that took place at council was at the May 23rd meeting where R81, R82, and R83 were passed.
All right, any questions? Hearing none. Next item would be a staff report. Director Shield.
Yeah, thank you. Maybe I could just highlight, there seemed to be a little challenge hearing the commissioners in the room. So just, if there's a microphone that needs to be turned on, that would be helpful for the people in virtual land.
I didn't turn my mic on. So.
Oh, okay.
Do it now.
Go ahead.
All right, well, the staff review, I'm going to focus on two items tonight. Both of them are related to urban service area amendment applications. The urban service area amendment for Stone Crest area on the east side of the city. A public hearing was held last Thursday at the Capital Area Regional Planning Commission. Mayor Swadley and I attended, as well as the MSA staff made a presentation on our behalf related to that application. I thought the public hearing went well. They're scheduled to take action on that request at their July meeting. Today, we actually filed the application for the urban service area amendment for the Stoughton trailers or the northwest corner of the city. That will be scheduled for a public hearing, I believe actually in July at the Capital Area Regional Planning Commission, and subsequent action on that in August. Be happy to answer questions about other items if there are any.
Alderperson Schumacher.
Rodney, do you know with the Grosso commercial buildings, if they are working on constructing the last of theirs or finishing out?
I don't think they started construction on the last one yet. I know that Finance Director Ellinger has provided some background information about the TID requirements and the increments that's to be generated there, so that may accelerate their plan to move forward with that the last building or so.
Okay, thanks.
You're welcome.
Any other questions? All right, hearing none. We'll go on to the SIP, Specific Implementation Plan for Lot 1 at 51 West Subdivision. Do you want to run the screen, Rodney, or did you want me to?
Yeah, I sure can. Just 1 second.
Okay, I'll log off of there and then you can introduce that one when you're ready. It looks like we have some people in the room that are interested in several of these items we have on here tonight, Rodney.
That sounds great. So this one's related to Lot 1 in the 51 West subdivision. The general development plan for this particular area included lots 1, 3, and 4. And I'm going to get to a screen here that'll show you where those are. They're in the western portion on the far top left-handed side of your screen. Lots 1, 3, and 4 are the area that were approved for the general development plan for duplexes, a number of duplexes on all of these. Lot 1 is what's before us for the SIP aspect of this project right now. Additionally, kind of some additional background, these lots are actually going through a platting process as well. Their interest is in trying to create saleable lots for each of the duplex units, each half. So that will be coming before the commissioners and the council in the coming meetings as well. But this is related to the SIP component for the Lot 1 portion of this project. And the plans in your packet outline the character of the buildings that are planned to be built, as well as the building position on the lots. And I'll get to some of the illustrations. Here's some elevation views related to that project. The floor plans are included as well. Commissioners generally are more, well, not more in tune, but focus a little bit more on the site plan. You'll recognize the area that they're working on is on the north side of Bluegrass Drive, which is lot 1. You can see the configuration of the number of lots. There's a total of, I believe, 8 duplex structures, 16 units in that first phase. You can see the driveway configurations that are proposed related to this. Most of them have a central drive between the buildings. And the far eastern one actually has a slightly different configuration with separate driveways at either end of the building. You'll note that they're anticipating some retaining wall work. If you're familiar with this area, the grade actually goes from street level up a fair amount, so they'll have some grade work to do in order to fit these buildings into those sites. As the mayor indicated, there's some applicants and that may have additional input to provide to the commissioners, and certainly if the commissioners would like to hear from them, I'm sure they'd be able to do so.
All right, are there any initial questions from the commissioners? Alderperson Schumacher.
Rodney, on the eastern side of the 51 development, are all of the duplex units anticipated on that side? Have they all begun or are finished constructing?
I believe there might be one or two additional lots yet that they have not started construction, but they are planning to if they haven't already. I'm sorry, I don't know the exact number, but several of them are well underway on the east side.
Okay, I haven't driven by there in the last couple of weeks or so and seen how many of them were they were working on. Thanks.
Yeah, my understanding is they're selling them quicker than they can build them.
Okay, good to know.
Any other questions? All right, no further questions. So what are we looking to do here tonight, Rodney?
There's a resolution in the packet that we would ask it's a plan commission action item only related to the SIP, and that'll pull up on the screen now. That's what we'd look for action on.
All right, if there's no further questions, I would entertain a motion for the resolution.
I'll make the motion to approve the plan.
And is there a second?
I'll second.
Second by Bradford. Any other questions or comments on this one? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. And any opposed? None opposed, that motion carries. Next item is plan development concept plan for 211 Water Street. Director Shield.
This comes to you as a discussion item tonight. The owners of this facility at 211 Water Street, as shown on the aerial image on the page on the screen, actually was the former Stoughton Utilities building many years ago. And it's currently used as I think it's a several tenant or possibly a couple of tenants in there with commercial and office type uses that are occurring there. They are looking at potentially creating a residential complex on this facility. Within the central business district, which this is located, residential units are a permitted by right use within the central business district. However, on the first floor, well, they actually have to be an accessory use to a commercial type use, and the commercial type use has to be included in the first 24 feet of the street elevation of the project on the street floor. So in this case, they would not be able to comply with that requirement because they're looking at trying to create an entirely residential facility here, 18 to 20 units potentially. Also in the central business district, there are no parking restrictions or requirements for on-site parking. You'll recognize from the aerial there's limited, if at all, any space to park within the site, but certainly there is the public parking lot adjacent to it. So the applicants are interested in gauging some interest by the community to go through a plan development process to allow for this to be zoned plan development and allow for the entire facility to be used as residential, as opposed to what would be required under the central business district requirements now. So just to restate it, if they wanted to move forward with a combination residential and commercial facility, they could do so under the current zoning regulations. The only requirement is they'd have to have a commercial entity operational in the first 24 feet of the ground floor level, and that would make the residential units accessory to that principal use as a commercial building. Their interest is in converting this entire building to residential. I know that if this moves forward, there will be a need to actually look at the site very closely and get some survey materials completed, because one of the, and I'm not suggesting this is a problem, but they'll have to confirm where the property line is, because on the north side of the building, in their conceptual plan here, they've identified an exit route that would be necessary for the facility along the north side of the building. And depending on where that property line is, obviously it would be very close to what the city property, where the city shares a property line with this property. So that would have to be explored more deeply if it moves forward. I'm sorry for a little drawn out presentation, but if there's applicant and or developer participants there that would like to speak, I would encourage them to do so.
All right. Yeah, you can just come up to the mic, adjust it a little bit, and then you just push the button so the red light comes on.
You guys hear me okay? All right. I'm Dustin Oler. My father currently owns the building. Justin Hansen and myself, along with KSW as a general contractor, would like to move forward with turning it into residential units. We believe the downtown could use more affordable, naturally affordable housing, and it would benefit all the downtown businesses a lot. The reason we cannot do a commercial component is the numbers just don't, frankly, make a lot of sense. We don't know what type of rent we could get. It's a low traffic area. It doesn't have a storefront as currently constructed. So we just believe that residential use would be the best use of that property, and we'd go through a substantial redevelopment and put a lot of dollars into it.
Any questions for Dustin?
I just have one, buttons on.
Hit it one more time.
Isn't it working?
No, hit it one more time. There you go.
Okay, now it's on.
Sorry.
Tech advice from I'm curious about the naturally affordable housing. You have a dollar amount or range that you're thinking of target rents for?
Yeah, the reason I wanted to clarify that is to make sure that no one took it as low-income, tax credit housing, that sort of thing. It would be market rate housing. However, all the units' targeted rents on our projections would be under 80% area AMI, most likely in the 60 to 80% range.
Okay, so do you have a dollar number that you're thinking?
So
as
they
far
range
as
from studios
whether-
to, I'm sorry.
Yeah, just depending whether it's a studio or one bedroom.
Yeah, we have current unit mix would be studios all the way up to 3 bedrooms. The studios would probably start somewhere around $850 to $950, and the 3 bedroom would be likely $1,700, with the mainly 1 bedroom units being right around $1,000.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Any other questions, Alderman Majewski? Your mic is on.
It is. Are you planning for any sustainable construction such as solar panels on the roof, seeing that it's nice and flat?
We would get a quote for that. My gut feeling is it is likely too expensive, but my brother does work for Everlight Solar, so I'd be happy to get a bid on that and see if we could work it into the project.
Appreciate that.
Yeah, you think you get a family discount?
Yeah,
for
I would
that.
hope so, but you never know.
There are federal tax credits available for up to 30%, so he'll probably know about that. If not, we can
Sure.
certainly share some resources with you.
Yeah, we certainly wouldn't be opposed to it if we could make it make sense.
And then my second question is you're somewhat limited for parking. What are you going to offer your tenants?
Right, so we are going to try to maximize the parking on site as depicted there. There's probably only enough room for 4, maybe 5 on-site stalls. We entertain the idea of trying to do indoor parking in the garage area, which would be, I believe, the east side of the building up front. However, the way the building's constructed is really compartmentalized. The turn radius needed wouldn't allow for more than 4 stalls in that area. And instead of 4 parking stalls, we can fit 4 units. So the trade-off just really didn't seem worth it. So we're hoping to work with the city, open to any ideas with the surface lot, but that would be our hope.
I can't see this moving forward without some rectification for parking for your tenants.
Okay. Do you have any suggestions for that?
I don't have any suggestions for you. I'm just saying that will need to be answered.
Okay.
Otherwise, what's going to happen is they will be living in the public in the city's public parking stalls at all times, and I see that to be a problem.
Okay.
That's not what the reason was to subsidize a rental unit.
Sure. We'll certainly try to come up with other creative solutions there.
Any follow-up or any others?
That's all. Thank you.
Okay. Anybody else?
The public parking lot then, if I am hearing correctly, is not to be considered suitable for this project?
Well, the public parking is available for anyone to use. The other central business district properties, whether they have residential or commercial uses, do not have any on-site parking requirements either. So there is a parking demand for all the area locations to utilize the public parking areas here. And this would just be another location that would have to utilize, well, is proposed to possibly utilize some of that public parking area.
Okay, well, so they would be able to utilize it, and I drove through the lot the other day. There was about 20, 25 open spaces there, but I didn't see an occupancy load. Sheet A10 has the proposed occupancy as just XXX. But there's a parking lot south behind what's now Anderson Plaza, and with my limited experience there, that parking lot seems to be even less utilized on a daily basis. But if anybody's got anything to the contrary, I'd love to hear that.
I think the number of, just to add, I think the number of units they're proposing, at least in this concept, is 18 to 20 dwelling units.
What does that equate to occupancy though? On A10 it has a line, but it doesn't have a number.
Somebody else could take a stab at it, but as you can appreciate, most of the studios are 1 bedroom and probably are 1 or 2 people. Maybe the three bedroom units potentially have more, but generally probably going to be 1 or 2 people in most of the units would be my prediction.
Yeah, Rodney, we anticipated about 20 to 30 permanent residents based on how many people were doubling up.
Oh, okay. I mean, at first I was really concerned about the parking lot, but then I realized that one to the south, while it's not ideal, it's only about a 2-minute walk to this facility. So,
They're all going to move there.
if you consider what's available in the parking lot north and the one behind Anderson Plaza, it seems like there might be, we just right across the street, we approved recently the temporary housing, Airbnb, whatever it's gonna be, but, it would seem to me we'd be close, and that's just anecdotal, though. I don't have any real hard data on number of cars in that parking lot on a regular basis.
So I can speak to that a bit. Sorry, I couldn't see who was speaking on Zoom.
It's Commissioner Farrell.
But Commissioner Farrell, we have been keeping a log of open stalls in that lot. Justin has gone down to the site roughly 20 times on different days of the week, different times, and on average, there's been 39 stalls open. So it's really being used roughly 55% of the occupancy there. Because we realize that parking is going to be the big question. And again, we're very open to any suggestions or any creative ideas on how to make it work. But there is some data here that shows there are available stalls for use for this proposed idea.
I mean, you're pretty landlocked there, obviously, but did you log any of the data on the parking lot south behind the plaza?
We have not. Generally, from just driving by that lot, it's never more than 30 to 40% used that I've seen. I don't know if others feel differently.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. Thank you.
So just to clarify, Rodney, so the zoning code, that does not require dedicated parking, or we can't have specific parking dedicated to their building. Is that correct?
If they brought this project to us with just residential on everything but the first floor, the first 24 feet of the first floor was a commercial operation, the code doesn't require parking for any of the residential units or the commercial use. They're contemplating trying to go through the plan development process, being upfront with the commission and the city, but trying to have it be utilized entirely as residential, so that at 24 feet would no longer be used for commercial. That would, so the underlying zoning would still be central business, but the parking question, I think, is Commissioner Majewski has raised, at least needs to be talked through related to the parking demand or impacts, if there are any, related to this area and the south of Main Street. Because there are parking restrictions in here, so it's not, there's a certain limited area where you can park longer term in each of these lots, and there's some shorter term parking in certain aspects of this parking lot as well.
I hate to keep rambling on, but the only signs I saw in there were 48 hours max and a couple motorcycle lots. So what else restrictions are there?
I think the ones farther south, I believe along the alley, that they might have a 3-hour limitation or 2-hour limitation. The 48-hour, I think, is limited to the northernmost bank of stalls, I believe.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Alderperson Schumacher.
As Tom was saying, I think that the parking issue will be difficult, and something that definitely needs to be sorted out. I think when you start to use the public spaces for your tenants, then that gets to be a little bit stacked unfairly versus the other businesses that are down there, because you'll have, I start to think about like plowing and replacement of it in there, so they're essentially getting free city use of that facility, versus any of the other businesses that would be down there that have surface lots. So aside from that, one question, at least as far as the zoning for this building, Michael or Rodney, the first floor commercial piece of that, does that have to be the entire first floor, or can it be a certain subsection of it, like if like one of their apartment units were converted into a commercial front, does that constitute and satisfy that zoning requirement?
I believe the requirement would be for the entire width of the front face of the building, back 24 feet, would need to be a commercial operation, office or otherwise.
Okay.
And right now in the central business districts, accessory, dwelling units are considered as accessory units. So really, the commercial operation is supposed to be a business that's operating, and then the residential would be accessory to that principal commercial use.
Got it, thanks.
You're welcome.
Alderperson Caravello?
And I just wanted to touch back on that you mentioned in the introduction, Rodney, about this side entrance that is on the north side of the building adjacent to the parking lot in the illustration I'm looking at. And so at this point, you don't know, or do we know if there's enough room to have this, railed off side entrance allowable or workable?
I think the developers believe it is. The survey work hasn't been completed. If they move forward, they'd have that survey work completed. There certainly is some distance north of the building that is on their property. That's just unknown. If it's 3 feet, if it's 5 feet, if it's 6 feet, just would need to be confirmed as part of the survey.
Okay.
The gentlemen that are presenting this have been inquiring with the city, at least at a staff level, trying to figure out a way to address the parking aspect of it. There was also some, at least, discussion related to being able to rent a portion of the parking lot, if that would be applicable or not, or available or not. Obviously, that's not something the city has entertained in the past. But the central business district, in reality, there's very few businesses that provide on-site parking within their own property in the central business district. I can only think of a few. Most of them rely on downtown parking, whether it be street and or the public parking lots for the residential units as well as their commercial operations downtown.
Any follow-up, Alderperson Caravello?
No.
All right. Anybody else? Okay, so I think we have some feedback.
Yeah.
Is that what you're looking for?
Yeah, exactly. We're open to any suggestions, like I said, and we understand the parking is obviously going to be the main concern. So we'll put our heads together and try to think of some more ideas on that as well. But we're again open if anyone else has any suggestions. We're open to the feedback.
All right, thank you.
All
Thanks
right,
for being
thank you,
here.
guys.
You bet. Okay, we have future agenda items. Do we have anything on your list, Rodney?
Well, the future agenda items, as it continues to be, I think we'll have additional activities related to the Stoughton Trailers development area. We'd anticipate additional work related to some of the lots within the 51 West area. Lot 6, we're understanding may go through a condominium plat process coming forward. We did look at lot 1 related to the SIP for a component of an area. So I'd anticipate those being the areas of focus. We'll be able to report back the activity of the Urban Service Area Amendment for both Stoughton Trailers and the Stone Crest at the coming meeting as well.
All right, anything from commissioners? Future agenda items? All right, I know there's some discussion at the state level as part of the budget process on these downtown areas and trying to do some revitalization, especially for residential housing. So as they get closer to passage, I'll try to get you guys some more information on that. You could certainly Google it, but nothing has really been signed off on yet. They've been mostly focusing on the shared revenue, but there's some various revolving loan programs and the WIDA programs that they're talking about trying to implement to encourage more buildings downtown that are being underutilized to be developed into residential housing. So you'll probably be hearing more about that. Other than that, I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
Move to adjourn.
I'll second.
Second by Caravello. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? None opposed. That motion carries. Have a great night.